Have you ever noticed that the words you don't say often shape reality more than the words you do? What if I told you there is one compliment, just one, that doesn't flatter a man's ego, doesn't chase his attention, and doesn't lower your value, but instead awakens something deep inside him, something ancient, quiet, and uncontrollable, a compliment that doesn't make him feel admired, but makes him feel seen? Stay with me, because by the end of this, you won't just understand what to say, you will realize who you are. And once you realize that, you will never speak from need again. You will speak from power. 1. Why most compliments fail. Most compliments fail, not because they are wrong, but because they are empty. They sound kind, they sound polite, they sound acceptable, but they do not land. They touch the ears, yet never reach the heart. And this is because most compliments are spoken from habit, not from awareness. You're handsome, you're smart, you're amazing. These words float on the surface of the mind. They stroke the ego, but they do not nourish the soul. And the ego, no matter how much it is fed, is never full. You see, when a compliment is given to impress, it already carries a weakness. It seeks a reaction, a smile, approval, validation in return. And the moment a compliment asks for something back, it loses its power. Because power never asks, power stands. Most people compliment the way they knock on a door, hoping someone will open it, hoping someone will let them in. But true words do not knock, they arrive. A man can feel the difference instantly. He may not know how to explain it, but his body knows. He knows when words are offered freely, and when they are used as currency. Compliments that fail are often rushed, spoken too quickly, given too easily, shared too often. And what is easy is never treasured. When praise becomes common, it becomes invisible. A man who hears praise constantly learns to ignore it quietly, not because he is ungrateful, but because it carries no weight. It tells him nothing new, it reveals nothing real, and slowly, without anyone noticing, the words lose their meaning. This is why saying nice things does not create attraction. It creates familiarity. And familiarity, without depth, breeds indifference. The truth is, most compliments are not expressions. They are performances. They are spoken to maintain harmony, to avoid discomfort, to keep the moment pleasant. But a pleasant moment is not a transformative one. And men are not moved by pleasantness. They are moved by truth. A truth spoken softly will always overpower a lie shouted loudly. When a compliment fails, it is not because the words were wrong. It is because the speaker was not present. Presence cannot be faked. It cannot be rushed. It cannot be borrowed. Presence comes from stillness, from seeing clearly, from noticing what others overlook. And most people do not see. They skim. They assume. They project. They compliment what is obvious, what is visible, what is already known. But what is obvious never touches the soul. A man's heart does not open when you repeat what the world already tells him. It opens when you reflect something he barely dares to see in himself. This is why most compliments fade the moment they are spoken. They decorate the moment, but they do not change it. And if you listen closely, you can feel this truth inside your own body. Think of the times you were praised, yet felt nothing. Think of the time someone spoke one simple sentence, and it stayed with you for years. The difference was never the words. It was the depth behind them, and depth is rare. Which leads us quietly to something most people confuse with kindness, but is actually something far more powerful. Because when words stop trying to please, they begin to recognize, and recognition changes everything. 2. The difference between praise and recognition. Praise is loud. Recognition is quiet. Praise points outward. Recognition looks inward. Praise says, I like what you do. Recognition says, I see who you are. And a man can feel the difference before the sentence even ends. Praise is often exaggerated. Recognition is precise. Praise uses big words. Recognition uses exact ones. Praise inflates. Recognition grounds. This is why praise excites for a moment, but recognition settles deeply. Praise makes a man feel good. Recognition makes him feel real. And what feels real cannot be forgotten. Recognition does not rush to speak. It waits. It observes how a man moves through pressure, how he carries responsibility, how he responds when no one is watching. It notices effort without applause, discipline without attention, restraint without reward. Recognition does not interrupt, it allows space. And in that space, truth reveals itself naturally. This is why recognition feels rare, because it requires patience. Most people do not wait long enough to truly see another human being. They react, they label, they judge. But recognition listens longer than it speaks. When recognition finally speaks, it does not announce itself. It arrives like a calm mirror, not telling a man what he should be, but reflecting what he already is. And when a man hears himself reflected accurately, something inside him straightens. His shoulders relax, his breath deepens, not because he feels admired, but because he feels understood. Understanding is intoxicating, far more than praise. Praise can be questioned, recognition cannot. Praise can be doubted, recognition feels undeniable. This is why recognition creates respect, while praise creates comfort. Comfort soothes, respect awakens, and men are wired to awaken through respect. When a woman speaks from recognition, she does not chase attention. She does not decorate her words. She speaks plainly, slowly, truthfully. And that truth lands like weight, not heavy, but solid. A man may not respond immediately. He may not smile. He may not say anything at all. But something inside him shifts, because recognition touches a place that is rarely acknowledged. It touches identity, and identity is sacred. When someone recognizes a man's discipline, his restraint, his consistency, his silent endurance, they are speaking to the part of him that carries the most burden, the part that does not complain, the part that does not ask to be seen. Recognition tells that part, I know you are there. And when that part is seen, loyalty begins, not attachment, not dependency, but quiet loyalty. Recognition does not create need. It creates choice. A man chooses to stay where he feels recognized, not because he is trapped, but because he is respected. And this is why recognition is dangerous to those who do not understand it. Because once you are recognized, you cannot unsee yourself. You cannot return to pretending. Recognition awakens responsibility. It says, this is who you are, live accordingly. And not every man is ready for that, which is why recognition must be offered without expectation. It is not a strategy. It is not a tool. It is a reflection. And reflection requires clarity. When you recognize someone clearly, you are also recognizing yourself. Because only those who are grounded can see others accurately. Which brings us gently to the hunger beneath all hunger, the need beneath all praise, the longing no compliment can satisfy unless it speaks to this one place. 3. A man's deepest hunger is not validation. A man does not wake up craving applause. He wakes up craving meaning. Validation excites the surface, but meaning feeds the core. Validation says, you are enough for now. Meaning says, you matter, and these are not the same. A man can survive without validation, but without meaning, he slowly withers. This is why constant reassurance does not create strength. It creates dependence, and dependence weakens attraction. A man's deepest hunger is not to be told he is good. It is to feel that his efforts have purpose, that his discipline is not wasted, that his sacrifices are not invisible, that the weight he carries is seen and honored. Most men will never say this out loud. They will smile, they will nod, they will accept praise politely, but inside, they are listening for something else. They are listening for meaning. Meaning is not loud, it does not flatter. Meaning is felt when someone acknowledges the cost behind the character. When someone sees not just the result, but the restraint, not just the success, but the self-control, not just the strength, but the effort it took to remain steady. When a woman speaks to that place, she is no longer competing with others, she is standing alone. Because very few people speak to meaning. Most speak to appearance, to performance, to outcome, but meaning lies beneath all of that. And when a man feels his meaning recognized, he does not feel bigger. He feels rooted. Rooted men are dangerous in the best way. They do not chase. They do not panic. They do not waver easily. They protect what recognizes them, not out of obligation, but out of alignment. Validation asks, "Do you see me?" Meaning says, "I see why you do what you do." And that sentence, even unspoken, changes everything. This is why silence often speaks louder than compliments, because silence gives space for meaning to be felt. A woman who does not rush to validate creates an opening. In that opening, a man reveals himself naturally. And when recognition meets that revelation, bonding happens quietly, not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply. The kind that does not fade when circumstances change. A man does not become attached to words. He becomes attached to how he feels T himself in your presence. And when your presence reminds him of his meaning, he will return to it again and again, not because you pulled him, but because you reflected him. And this reflection is only the beginning. Because once meaning is touched, something else awakens next, something far more powerful than attraction, something that changes how a man chooses and who he becomes beside you, and that is where everything truly begins. 4. Ego words versus soul words. There are words that decorate the surface and words that enter the depths. Ego words sparkle, they shine quickly, they make noise. Soul words move slowly, they arrive quietly, they stay. Ego words are spoken to be noticed, soul words are spoken because they are true. You're impressive, you're better than others, you stand out. These are ego words. They lift for a moment, then fade like smoke. Because the ego is never still, it always wants more, more praise, more reassurance, more proof. But the soul does not hunger for more, it hungers for alignment. Soul words do not inflate, they settle, they do not compare, they recognize, they do not place someone above others, they place someone within themselves. And a man knows instinctively when words are meant to elevate his ego versus when they are meant to honor his essence. Ego words create excitement. Soul words create grounding. And grounding is far more attractive than excitement. Excitement fades when circumstances change. Grounding remains when everything shakes. Ego words often rush ahead of truth. They are spoken before the speaker has fully seen. Soul words wait. They observe quietly. They notice patterns, not moments. They speak of consistency, not performance. A man may smile at ego words. He may even enjoy them. But they do not touch his core, because his core knows. Ego words are about image. Soul words are about being. And deep down, every man longs to be known without needing to perform. Ego words reward doing. Soul words acknowledge becoming, and becoming is sacred. When soul words are spoken, there is no rush to respond. Sometimes there is silence, sometimes a slow nod, sometimes nothing at all. But inside, something aligns, because soul words bypass defense. They do not threaten, they do not demand. They simply say, I see what is real, and reality cannot be argued with. This is why soul words feel heavy, not in burden, but in weight. They carry presence. They do not float away. They anchor. And the one who speaks soul words must also live from the soul, because soul words spoken without integrity feel hollow. A man senses immediately whether the speaker is rooted or seeking. Soul words cannot be borrowed. They cannot be memorized. They must come from stillness. And stillness is not passive. It is powerful. It is the space where truth forms before language touches it. This is why silence often strengthens soul words. A pause before speaking allows the words to rise from depth instead of habit. And when words rise from depth, they carry something beyond sound. They carry presence, and presence is felt more than it is heard, which brings us naturally to the next truth. Because when soul words are spoken correctly, they do something remarkable. They awaken something ancient that does not respond to praise at all. 5. Why attraction is triggered by respect. Attraction does not begin with desire, it begins with respect. Desire is reactive, respect is rooted. Desire comes and goes, respect stays. A man can desire many things, but he commits to what he respects. And respect is not demanded, it is felt. Respect grows when a man senses that he is not being managed, manipulated, or measured. Respect grows when he feels that he is free to be himself without performance. This is why attraction deepens around those who do not chase. Chasing communicates fear. Fear erodes respect. Stillness communicates confidence. Confidence invites respect. When a woman speaks with restraint, when she does not rush to impress, when she does not over-explain, she creates space. And space allows respect to form. Respect is born in boundaries, in calm limits, in quiet certainty. It does not shout, "Look at me." It says, "I know who I am." A man responds to this, not consciously, but instinctively, because respect signals safety, not emotional safety alone, but identity safety. It tells him, you do not need to shrink here. You do not need to pretend. You do not need to prove. And when a man feels respected, his nervous system relaxes. He becomes more present, more attentive, more real. This is why respect is far more seductive than flirtation. Flirtation plays on surface energy. Respect touches core stability, and core stability creates trust. Attraction without respect burns fast and disappears. Attraction with respect deepens quietly. This is why the most powerful compliments are rooted in respect, not admiration. Admiration places someone above you. Respect meets them as they are. Respect does not inflate. It affirms reality, and a man trusts reality. Respect sees effort without applauding loudly, strength without exaggeration, consistency without celebration. It notices and then lets it be. This restraint is magnetic because it communicates self-worth. A woman who respects herself does not overgive words. She does not decorate silence with noise. She allows moments to breathe. And in that breathing space, a man feels drawn closer, not pulled, but invited. Respect creates polarity. It allows each person to remain whole, and wholeness is attractive. A man does not want to be complete. He wants to be met. And respect is how you meet someone without losing yourself, which leads us to something even more subtle, because when respect is present, words no longer need to persuade. They do something else entirely. They slip past the mind and speak directly to the center. 6. The one compliment that bypasses the mind. The mind filters, the mind analyzes, the mind doubts. But the center, the quiet core within, simply knows. Most compliments get stopped by the mind. The mind asks, is this true? Is this exaggeration? What do they want? But there is one kind of compliment that the mind does not resist, because it does not try to convince, it does not praise, it does not impress. It simply recognizes. And recognition slips past thought. The compliment that bypasses the mind does not speak about outcomes. It speaks about character. It does not say, "You are successful." It says, "I notice how steady you remain under pressure." It does not say, "You are confident." It says, "I see how you don't react to everything." These words do not trigger ego. They trigger identity. And identity does not argue. When a man hears himself described accurately, without exaggeration, without demand, something inside him settles. His body responds before his thoughts do, because this kind of compliment aligns with his inner truth, and truth is felt immediately. This compliment works because it is not trying to create attraction. It is revealing awareness, and awareness is rare. It tells a man, you are seen in a way most people never bother to see. And being seen deeply creates connection effortlessly. This compliment does not ask for attention. It does not seek approval. It stands on its own. It is spoken calmly, slowly, without emphasis, almost casually. And that is why it penetrates. Because truth does not need intensity, it needs accuracy. A man may not respond right away, but later, when he is alone, those words return, not as sound, but as reflection. He begins to see himself differently. And when someone changes how you see yourself, they change how you feel around them. This is the power of the compliment that bypasses the mind. It does not create excitement, it creates clarity. And clarity is addictive, because clarity removes confusion, and confusion exhausts the soul. When you offer clarity, you become a place of rest, a place of grounding, a place of truth, and a man will always return to where he feels most himself. Not because he is controlled, but because he is aligned, and alignment is the deepest form of attraction. And yet, this is still not the end. Because once the mind is bypassed and the center is touched, something else begins to awaken, something that transforms not just attraction, but loyalty, and that is where the real shift begins. 7. Why this compliment creates obsession without chasing. There is a strange truth about human connection. The more you chase it, the faster it moves away. And the more you stand still, the more it comes closer. Obsession is not created by pursuit, it is created by absence of need. When you chase, you announce hunger. When you remain grounded, you create curiosity. This is why the most powerful compliment does not cling. It does not follow up. It does not wait for a reaction. It is spoken and then released. And that release is what stays in the mind, because the human mind is not captured by what is offered freely. It is captured by what is given without attachment. When a man senses that your words are not a hook, not bait, not strategy, something inside him leans in, not because you pulled him, but because you did not. This is the paradox. The compliment that creates obsession does not seek closeness. It creates space. And in that space, a man begins to fill in the silence himself. He replays the words. He wonders what you saw. He reflects on how little was said and how much was felt, because obsession is born in the mind, not in the moment. And the mind obsesses over what is unfinished. When you say just enough and then stop, the mind continues the conversation alone. This is why over-complimenting kills attraction. It completes the story too quickly. But when you offer a single, grounded recognition and then remain unchanged, you leave a question open. Not a question of doubt, but a question of depth. What did she really see? Why did that land so deeply? Why does this feel different? And difference creates fixation. Not obsession born of insecurity, but fascination born of respect. This is the kind of obsession that does not feel desperate. It feels calm, steady, intentional. A man begins to associate your presence with clarity, with stillness, with a feeling of being centered. And once the nervous system associates someone with calm strength, it seeks it again, not compulsively, but instinctively. This is why silence after the compliment is essential. Silence allows the words to echo inward. Silence gives the mind space to process meaning, and meaning takes time to settle. When you do not rush to fill the space, you show that you are not afraid of emptiness, and someone who is not afraid of emptiness holds immense power, because emptiness is where truth speaks. A man becomes obsessed, not with the words themselves, but with the state he enters around you. He wants to return to that state, not because you promised anything, but because you disrupted something old and steady inside him. And this disruption is subtle. It does not shout, it whispers, and whispers are remembered longer. But this kind of obsession does no key come from emotional games. It comes from inner stability, from being so rooted in yourself that your words are not trying to secure connection. They simply express awareness, and awareness is magnetic, which brings us gently to the deeper structure beneath this effect. Because obsession does not form unless something fundamental has been touched, something tied to identity, to authority, to how a man experiences himself in the world. 8. Masculine identity and inner authority. Every man carries an inner structure, not something he talks about, but something he lives by. This structure is his sense of authority, not authority over others, but authority over himself. It is how he decides, how he restrains, how he commits. This inner authority is fragile when it is not recognized, not because it needs praise, but because it carries weight alone. Most men are taught to be strong quietly, to endure without being seen, to handle pressure without expression. And over time, this creates isolation, not emotional isolation, but identity isolation. A man begins to wonder if anyone truly understands the discipline he carries, not the success, not the results, but the restraint. The decisions not taken, the reactions swallowed, the impulses controlled. Inner authority is built through these invisible choices. And when someone recognizes this, without glorifying it, without dramatizing it, something profound happens. The man feels confirmed, not validated, confirmed. Validation says you are good. Confirmation says you are real, and realness strengthens identity. This is why the right compliment strengthens a man. Instead of inflating him, it speaks to the part of him that governs his actions when no one is watching. It acknowledges his inner ruler, and when inner authority is acknowledged, outer authority stabilizes. A man becomes calmer, more decisive, less reactive, not because he is trying to impress, but because he feels aligned. And alignment creates presence. Presence creates gravity. Gravity pulls people closer without effort. This is why a man may feel drawn towards someone who rarely speaks about him at all, because when she does speak, she speaks to his core, not his achievements, not his potential, but his discipline. And discipline is sacred. This is also why flattery can feel disrespectful to a man, because flattery ignores the inner structure and focuses only on the surface. It praises what is visible and overlooks what is carried. Recognition of inner authority says, I see the weight you hold and how you hold it. This does not weaken a man, it strengthens him. And a man will protect what strengthens him, not emotionally, energetically. He becomes more present around you, more attentive, more intentional. Because you are not feeding his ego, you are aligning with his identity, and identity, once aligned, does not wander easily. This is why the deepest bonds are formed not through chemistry, but through recognition of inner authority. Chemistry excites the body, authority steadies the soul. and the soul chooses where to remain. But here is the quiet truth. Most men will never hear words that speak to this part of them. Not because no one cares, but because few people see deeply enough. Which leads us to something almost tragic. Because when something is rarely acknowledged, it becomes profoundly impactful the moment it is. 9. Why men rarely hear this in their lifetime. Most men live entire lives without being truly seen. They are noticed, they are assessed, they are evaluated, but they are not recognized. They are told what they do well. They are corrected when they fail. But the inner structure, the discipline, the restraint, the silent endurance remain unnamed. And what remains unnamed often feels unseen. Society rewards outcomes. It celebrates success, but it rarely honors the internal cost. Men are expected to carry weight without acknowledgement, and over time, this creates emotional numbness. Not coldness, but quiet detachment. A man learns not to expect recognition for who he is, only for what he produces. This is why the right compliment feels shocking. Not because it is dramatic, but because it is rare. It speaks to something that has been ignored for decades. It touches a place that has learned to survive without being named. And when that place is finally recognized, there is no loud reaction. There is silence, stillness, sometimes even discomfort. Because being seen deeply can feel vulnerable. But beneath that vulnerability is relief. Relief that someone finally noticed without asking for proof. This is why men rarely forget the person who speaks this way, not because they were praised, but because they were understood. Understanding is not common. It is not casual. It requires patience, presence, and emotional maturity. This is why not everyone can speak this compliment truthfully. It cannot be copied. It cannot be memorized. It arises only from awareness. And awareness is cultivated through stillness. This is why a woman who is at peace with herself naturally speaks words that others cannot, because she is not searching, she is observing, she is not performing, she is perceiving, and perception sees what noise hides. Most men move through life, being reacted to, not reflected. They are challenged, they are tested, they are judged, but rarely mirrored accurately. When someone mirrors you accurately, you feel grounded, and grounding feels like home. This is why a man may feel drawn to someone he cannot explain, because his system recognizes what his mind cannot articulate. He feels calmer, clearer, more himself. And that feeling becomes irreplaceable. Because once you experience being seen, you cannot return to being invisible. This is why this compliment changes trajectories. It does not create attachment. It creates orientation. A man begins to orient himself toward where he feels real, toward where his inner authority is honored, toward where he does not need to perform or prove. And once orientation shifts, behavior follows naturally, not forced, not demanded, chosen. And this choice is the quiet beginning of something far deeper, because when recognition is rare, it becomes unforgettable. And when something is unforgettable, it reshapes how connection is formed forever. And yet, there is still more, because recognition alone is not enough. There is a final element, so subtle, so easily missed, that determines whether this connection fades or becomes unbreakable, and that is what comes next. 10. The power of seeing effort, not outcome. Most of the world looks at results, success, achievements, visible wins, but effort is quiet. Effort happens when no one is watching. It lives in early mornings, in self-control, in restraint, in the decision to keep going, when no applause is promised. And this is why effort is rarely acknowledged, because effort does not announce itself. It does not shine. It does not ask to be noticed. Yet effort is where character is formed. Outcomes change, effort remains. A man may succeed today, and fail tomorrow. But the effort he applies, the discipline he brings, that reveals who he truly is. When someone sees only outcomes, they are praising luck, timing, or circumstance. But when someone sees effort, they are honoring choice. Choice is powerful. Choice says, I could have stopped, but I didn't. Most men live in a world where only results are rewarded. They are measured by what they produce, not by what they endure. And over time, this creates a quiet exhaustion, because effort without recognition feels invisible, not unloved, but unseen. When someone notices effort, not dramatically, not loudly, but calmly, it feels grounding, it feels accurate. It tells a man, I see what it costs you to be who you are, and cost is personal, cost is private. When effort is recognized, there is no inflation of ego. There is relief. Relief that someone understands that strength is not loud, that consistency is not glamorous, that restraint is not weakness. Seeing effort does not excite the mind. It settles the nervous system, because effort lives in the body. It is felt in tension, in fatigue, in discipline. When effort is acknowledged, the body softens, the shoulders drop, the breath slows, because the body feels understood. And being understood is more nourishing than being admired. This is why the most powerful compliments are not about success. They are about perseverance, not about what was achieved, but about how it was carried. When you see effort, you see the person beneath the performance. And when the performance is no longer required, connection deepens naturally. A man begins to feel safe being human, not impressive, not perfect, just present. And presence creates intimacy, not emotional intensity, but calm closeness. This is why noticing effort creates loyalty without force. Because loyalty forms where effort is respected. A man will naturally lean toward those who see the work he does when no one is watching. And once effort is seen, something else becomes important. Because recognition, if rushed or poorly timed, can lose its depth, which brings us gently to the space before the words. 11. Why silence before the compliment matters. Silence is not empty. Silence is full. It holds awareness. It holds observation. It holds intention. Most people speak too quickly. They rush to fill space, to smooth moments, to avoid discomfort. But power does not rush. Power waits. Silence before speaking allows truth to rise. It gives the body time to feel what the mind cannot yet name. When a compliment is spoken immediately, it often comes from impulse. When it is spoken after silence, it comes from clarity. Silence sharpens perception. It allows you to see what is actually happening, not what you expect to see. When you pause before speaking, you give yourself the gift of accuracy. And accuracy is what makes words land. A compliment spoken without silence can sound rehearsed, but a compliment spoken after stillness sounds inevitable, as if it could not have been said any other way. Silence also communicates confidence. It says, I am not afraid of this moment. It says, I do not need to fill space to feel valuable. This alone creates presence, and presence amplifies words. When silence precedes speech, the listener becomes attentive. Their nervous system opens. They lean in, not physically, but inwardly. Silence invites listening, and listening prepares the ground for meaning. Without silence, even the most beautiful words can fall flat. But with silence, even simple words can echo deeply. This is why the pause before a compliment matters more than the compliment itself. The pause signals sincerity. It tells the listener, these words were chosen, not spilled, and chosen words carry weight. Silence also removes expectation. When you pause, you are not chasing a reaction. You are allowing the moment to unfold. And when there is no expectation, words feel safe. They do not demand agreement. They do not seek validation. They simply offer recognition. This makes the compliment feel clean, untangled, pure. Man senses tea. Immediately, he feels that the words are not a tool. They are a reflection. And reflections require still water. Silence stills the water. It removes ripples of urgency, need, or desire for outcome. Only then can the reflection be clear. And when the reflection is clear, it reaches the center. But silence alone is not enough. Because even the right words, spoken from stillness, require something else to truly land. They require alignment with time. Because timing is what transforms recognition into impact. 12. Timing. When this compliment works best, timing is invisible, but everything depends on it. The same words spoken at the wrong time can feel meaningless. The same words spoken at the right time can change a memory forever. Timing is not about strategy. It is about attunement. It is about sensing. When a moment is open, when the mind is quiet, when the body is relaxed, when defenses are low, the right time is rarely loud. It is usually subtle, often after effort, after silence, after something has been carried quietly. This is when recognition lands deepest, not in moments of success, but in moments of calm. Not when a man is proving himself, but when he is simply being. Timing respects emotional readiness. It does not interrupt, it does not intrude. It waits until the moment can receive. This is why compliments spoken in private often land deeper than those spoken publicly. Privacy removes performance. Privacy allows truth. The right timing feels natural, unforced, almost accidental, as if the words slipped out because they were ready, not because they were planned. Timing also respects emotional state. When a man is stressed, defensive, or distracted, even the deepest words may not reach him, but when he is present, grounded, or reflective, even a single sentence can echo for years. The right timing does not rush CL. Oh sure, it does not demand response. It allows space afterward, because impact needs room to settle. A compliment spoken at the right time does not need repetition. It stays. Timing is also about restraint, knowing when not to speak, knowing when silence will do more than words. This discernment creates respect, because it shows awareness. It shows that you are not driven by impulse. You are guided by presence, and presence is felt immediately. When timing is right, words do not feel added. They feel aligned. They belong to the moment, and moments that feel aligned are remembered differently. They are not stored as events. They are stored as experiences, and experiences shape attachment. This is why timing determines whether a compliment fades or becomes foundational, because the mind forgets words, but the body remembers moments. When recognition arrives, at the exact moment it is needed, it becomes part of the nervous system, part of memory, part of identity, and identity does not forget. This is where attraction deepens into trust, where curiosity becomes consistency, where presence becomes preference. And yet, even perfect timing is not the final piece. Because after recognition is offered, after silence is honored, after timing aligns, there is one final decision that determines everything, whether to hold on or to let go. And that decision changes the entire meaning of what was said. But that comes next. 13. Why desperation kills the effect instantly. Desperation is loud, even when no words are spoken. It leaks through tone, through timing, through the subtle tension in the body. You may say the right words, with the right smile, at the right moment. Yet desperation cancels everything, because desperation is not heard by the ears, it is felt by the nervous system. And the nervous system never lies. Desperation says, I need something from you. Not love, not connection, but reassurance, validation, relief from inner uncertainty. And the moment words carry this weight, they stop being a gift, they become a request. Even the most beautiful compliment, when fueled by desperation, turns heavy. It presses instead of landing. A man feels this pressure immediately. He may not know what to call it, but his body tightens. His attention pulls back, because pressure signals imbalance, and imbalance erodes respect. Desperation is not about wanting someone. It is about fearing yourself without them. And fear distorts communication. It makes words rush. It makes silence uncomfortable. It makes pauses feel dangerous. This is why desperation often speaks too much. It over-explains, over-compliments, over-gives, trying to secure something before it disappears. But what is forced cannot remain. The deeper truth is this: desperation is not unattractive because it is emotional. It is unattractive because it is self-abandoning. It signals that you have stepped away from your own center. And when someone leaves their center, others instinctively step back, not to punish, not to reject, but to protect their own balance. A grounded person feels safe. A desperate person feels unstable. And stability is what allows attraction to deepen. Desperation also distorts perception. It makes you compliment what you hope is true, not what you have truly seen. And words spoken without clarity sound hollow. They do not ring true. This is why desperation kills the effect instantly. Not because the listener is cruel, but because truth is missing. Truth cannot grow in a space filled with fear. This is also why silence feels unbearable to desperation, because silence reflects inner emptiness. But silence to someone grounded feels spacious, peaceful, alive. The absence of desperation is N-O-T coldness. It is wholeness. And wholeness is magnetic. When you are whole, you do not need words to do the work. Your presence does it first. Then, when words finally arrive, they arrive clean, unattached, free. And freedom is felt. A compliment spoken without desperation does not seek outcome. It does not wait to see what it will get back. It is complete the moment it is spoken. And completeness is powerful because it asks for nothing. It stands. And when words stand on their own, they gain weight. A man senses when words are offered without hunger. He feels no pressure to respond, to impress, to match energy. And in that absence of pressure, his curiosity awakens. Because curiosity arises where there is no demand. Desperation demands, stillness invites, and invitation always outlives demand, which leads us naturally to the deeper source behind all of this. Because removing desperation is not about restraint, it is about energy, and the energy you hold while speaking changes everything. 14. The energy you must hold while saying it. Words are not carried by sound alone. They are carried by energy. Two people can say the exact same sentence. One creates impact, the other creates discomfort. The difference is not language, it is state of being. Energy speaks before words arrive. Your posture, your breath, your pace, these communicate first. If your energy is calm, your words arrive as truth. If your energy is restless, your words arrive as noise. The energy that gives power to a compliment is not excitement. It is grounded calm. Calm says, I am okay. Calm says, I am not reaching. Calm says, I am present. When you speak from calm, you are not leaning forward. You are standing still. And stillness creates gravity. Gravity pulls without effort. The right energy is rooted in self-trust, not arrogance, not pride, but quiet trust that you do not need to be chosen, to be whole. This energy cannot be faked. It comes from inner alignment, from knowing that your value is not dependent on response. When this energy is present, even simple words feel significant. Even silence feels intentional. The listener feels no urgency, no tension, only presence. and presence opens the door to connection. The wrong energy tries to control the outcome. It watches reactions closely. It adjusts mid-sentence. It hopes the right energy releases the words and lets them go. No attachment, no monitoring. This release is felt deeply. Because attachment creates resistance. Release creates openness. The energy you must hold is patient. It is slow. It is unbothered by what comes next. It does not rush to define the moment. It allows the moment to define itself. This is why grounded energy makes a man feel safe. Not emotionally safe only, but existentially safe. He feels no need to perform, no need to impress. He can simply be. And when someone allows you to be, you naturally move closer, not physically, but inwardly. This energy also protects your words, because words spoken from grounded energy cannot be misinterpreted easily. They are clear. They carry no hidden agenda. They do not seduce. They do not manipulate. They reflect, and reflection invites self-awareness. A man hears the words and turns inward. He feels something align, and alignment feels like truth. This is why the energy matters more than the compliment itself, because energy determines whether words awaken the ego or touch the soul. When energy is grounded, the soul listens. When energy is restless, the ego reacts and the soul remembers. This grounded energy also changes how you walk away, because you do not linger. You do not wait for confirmation. You allow space afterward, space for reflectio, and space for feeling, space for meaning to settle, and meaning needs time. This is why the most powerful moments are often followed by quiet distance, not withdrawal, but openness, letting the words echo without interference. And when the echo returns, it returns stronger, because it was not chased, it was allowed, and this allowance is the signature of true power. Because power does not push, it permits, it trusts, it knows. And when you speak from this energy, you do not need to wonder if it worked, because something deeper has already shifted. And that shift is only preparing the ground. Because what comes next is not about words at all. It is about what happens when you stop speaking and let silence complete the message, and that changes everything. 15. Why this compliment makes him protect you. Protection is not born from fear. It is born from belonging. A man does not protect what he is asked to protect. He protects what he feels connected to. And connection does not come from dependency. It comes from respectful recognition. When a man feels seen for his character, not just his role, not just his strength, not just what he provides, something ancient awakens inside him. Not aggression, not dominance, but guardianship. Protection rises naturally when a man senses that his presence matters, not because he is needed, but because he is valued. This is where many misunderstand protection. They believe it comes from vulnerability, from weakness, from asking, but true protection is triggered when a man feels trusted. Trust says, I see you as capable, and capability invites responsibility. When your words reflect his steadiness, his restraint, his quiet discipline, you are not asking him to protect you. You are reminding him who he already is. And identity moves behavior. A man protects what aligns with his identity. This is why flattery does not inspire protection. Flattery inflates. Inflation destabilizes. But recognition stabilizes. It grounds a man in his role as a steady presence. Protection is not about control. It is about care. And care grows where effort is acknowledged. When a man senses that his inner effort, his self-control, his responsibility, his consistency is respected, he feels invited to give more of it, not demanded, invited. Protection then becomes instinctual. He becomes more attentive, more aware, more intentional, not because he is afraid of losing you, but because he feels aligned with you. Alignment creates loyalty, and loyalty expresses itself as protection. This protection is quiet. It is not loud declarations, it is subtle actions, checking in without hovering, standing firm without controlling, creating safety without limiting freedom. This is why the compliment matters, because it does not stroke ego, it affirms character. And character seeks to preserve what reflects it. When you speak to a man's character, you are not placing yourself beneath him. You are standing beside him, and standing beside a man activates partnership, not hierarchy. Partnership is where protection thrives, because partnership honors strength without exploiting it. And the man senses this. He feels that he is not being used, but respected. This respect awakens a natural instinct to shield, to support, to stand firm, not because he must, but because he chooses to, and choice is powerful. Protection that is chosen is enduring. Protection that is demanded creates resentment. This is why the words must be clean, free of manipulation, free of fear, spoken once, then released. The release tells him, you are not clinging to the outcome. And this non-attachment is what makes the protection genuine, because he is free. And when a man is free, his protection is real. But here is the deeper truth. Protection is not sustained by words alone. It is sustained by space. Because after recognition, after connection, after respect, there must be room for choice to breathe. Which brings us quietly to the discipline that determines whether protection deepens or fades. 16. Detachment, the hidden ingredient. Detachment is often misunderstood. People confuse it with distance, with coldness, with lack of care. But detachment is not absence of feeling. It is absence of grasping. Detachment says, I am whole whether you stay or go. And wholeness is magnetic. When you are detached, you do not pull, you do not cling, you do not watch reactions closely. You allow, and allowing creates trust. A man feels immediately when he is not being held emotionally hostage. He senses freedom, and freedom deepens commitment. This is the paradox. The more you release, the more he leans in, not because you are unavailable, but because you are unafraid. Detachment communicates strength. It says, I choose connection, not dependency. And choice keeps dignity intact. When detachment is present, your words remain light. They do not carry expectation. They do not ask to be repaid. They simply exist. This makes them powerful, because power lies in self-sufficiency. A man trusts someone who is not using him to fill emptiness. He feels no pressure to perform, to rescue, to reassure. And without pressure, he relaxes. Relaxation invites presence. Presence invites depth. Detachment also protects your energy. You do not replay conversations endlessly. You do not analyze reactions. You let moments be what they are. This allows meaning to settle naturally. When you detach, you give the other person the dignity of their own process. You do not rush them toward conclusions. And this patience creates safety. Safety is essential for true connection, because only when someone feels safe do they reveal themselves. Detachment does not close the door. It leaves it open without standing in the doorway. It says, you may enter when ready. And readiness cannot be forced. This is why detachment is the hidden ingredient. It transforms recognition into resonance. It allows protection to arise naturally, because the man is not reacting to need. He is responding to alignment. Alignment is sustainable. Need is exhausting. When you detach, you shift from wanting to be chosen to allowing choice. This changes everything, because now, if he stays, it is because he wants to. Not because he feels obligated, not because he was pulled, but because he recognized himself in your presence. And people protect what reflects their truth. Detachment also keeps you rooted. You do not abandon yourself to maintain connection. You remain centered, and a centered person does not lose power. They gain influence, because influence does not come from force. It comes from being calm, being clear, being whole. This wholeness is felt, and it invites respect, which invites protection, which invites loyalty, all without demand, all without fear. And when detachment is present, there is no rush to define the future. The present becomes enough, and when the present is enough, the future aligns naturally. This is the quiet mastery: to speak once, to see clearly, to release completely, and to trust that what is meant to stay will move closer without being chased, because what is real does not need pursuit. It recognizes itself in stillness, and that recognition is what transforms a moment into a bond. And yet, even detachment is not the end, because after letting go, after standing whole, after allowing space, there is one final shift, a shift where silence becomes action, where words are no longer needed at all. And that is where true mastery is revealed. 17. Why high-value women use words sparingly. There is a quiet power in not needing to speak. Not silence born of fear, not silence born of suppression, but silence born of clarity. High-value women do not measure their worth by how much they say. They measure it by how deeply they listen. They understand something most people overlook. Words are not power, presence is. When words are used constantly, they lose weight. When words are rare, they carry gravity. High-value women do not rush to explain themselves. They do not rush to correct perceptions. They do not rush to fill gaps with sound, because they are not afraid of being misunderstood by those who are not meant to understand. They know that overspeaking is often a form of self-defense, a way of saying, please see me, please choose me, please don't leave. But high-value women do not negotiate their value. They let it be felt. They let it speak for itself, through consistency, through calmness, through how they move through the world. When they speak, they've already listened long enough to know what truly matters. So they choose carefully, not because they are calculating, but because they are aware. Awareness naturally slows speech. When you are aware, you notice the difference between what wants to be said and what needs to be said. Most of what wants to be said comes from emotion. Most of what needs to be said comes from truth. Truth does not hurry. Truth waits until it is clear. High-value women understand that words spoken too often can become noise, and noise hides meaning. They would rather say one sentence that lands deeply than 10 sentences that fade instantly. This restraint is not coldness. It is self-respect. It communicates, I trust myself enough to not prove anything. And trust in oneself creates trust in others. A man senses this immediately. He notices that she does not react to everything. She does not chase clarity. She does not panic in silence. And this steadiness is grounding. It makes him slow down. It makes him listen more closely. Because when someone speaks rarely, every word becomes an event. Not dramatic, but intentional. High-value women do not use words to control outcomes. They use words to express alignment. They are not trying to steer the moment. They are responding to it. This is why their words do not create confusion. They create orientation. They point inward, not outward. They invite reflection, not reaction. This also protects their energy. They do not exhaust themselves by explaining emotions to those who are not listening. They do not argue with misunderstanding. They let behavior reveal truth over time, and time is the great clarifier. Words fade, patterns remain. High-value women trust patterns. They trust what repeats. They trust what is consistent. And because they trust themselves, they are not afraid to let silence do the work. Silence becomes a filter. Those who need noise fall away. Those who can sit in stillness draw closer. This is not strategy, it is natural selection. The right people are not afraid of quiet. They are drawn to it because quiet reveals depth, and depth recognizes depth. Which brings us to the most liberating truth of all. Because when words are used sparingly, something unexpected happens. You stop waiting for responses. You stop watching reactions. You stop measuring yourself through someone else's attention. And in that moment, everything shifts. 18. When you stop needing him to react, there is a freedom that arrives quietly. It does not announce itself. It does not demand celebration. It simply settles into your body like a deep exhale. The moment you stop needing a reaction, you reclaim your power, not power over someone, power within yourself. Needing a reaction ties your worth to someone else's response. It makes your inner world dependent on external movement, and dependency is exhausting. When you stop needing him to react, you stop leaning forward energetically. You stop waiting. You stop checking. You stop replaying moments in your mind. You return to yourself, and returning to yourself is the beginning of peace. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop gripping. Care without grip is love. Care with grip is fear. When you release the need for reaction, you allow moments to be complete as they are. A compliment no longer needs to be validated. Silence no longer needs to be filled. Distance no longer feels like rejection. Everything softens, and softness is strength, because soft things adapt, rigid things break. A man feels this shift, not consciously, but energetically. He senses that he is not responsible for your emotional stability, and this is relieving. It allows him to show up freely, not defensively, not performatively, just honestly. When you stop needing him to react, your presence becomes neutral, and neutrality is powerful. It does not pull, it does not push. It simply is in neutrality. Your words become lighter. They do not carry expectation. They do not wait for confirmation. They do not ask, did that matter? They know they mattered the moment they were true. This changes how he experiences you. He no longer feels evaluated. He no longer feels pressured to respond correctly. He feels space. And in space, authentic responses arise, not forced ones, not polite ones, but real ones. This is where connection becomes clean, uncontaminated by fear, unburdened by outcome. You are no longer speaking to get somewhere. You are speaking because something is present, and presence does not need applause. This also means you stop trying to predict. You stop reading between lines. You stop building stories from silence. You trust what is happening instead of fearing what might happen. Trust creates relaxation. Relaxation creates openness. Openness invites truth, and truth does not hide. When you stop needing reaction, you stop shrinking yourself to maintain connection. Stop performing calm while feeling anxious. You stop pretending indifference while feeling attachment. You become honest with yourself first, and honesty with oneself is magnetic because it is rare. This honesty also protects your dignity. You do not chase clarification. You do not demand reassurance. You do not force intimacy. You allow connection to unfold at its own pace, and what unfolds naturally has roots. What is rushed has none. When you stop needing reaction, you realize something quietly profound. You were always whole. The reaction was never missing. It was never required. You are just waiting to remember yourself. And when you remember yourself, everything aligns, words become minimal, energy becomes steady, presence becomes enough. And from this place, if someone moves closer, it is real. If they do not, you remain intact, unbroken, undiminished. This is the final mastery: to speak without attachment, to recognize without needing reward, to connect without losing center, because the deepest influence is never loud. It is quiet, stable, unshakable. And when you reach this place, you no longer wonder which complement changes everything, because you have changed. And from that change, every word you speak carries truth, and truth does not need to convince. It simply is. You see, the most powerful compliment is never about what a man has, or how he looks, or what he gives you. It is about who he believes he is when he is with you. And the moment you stop trying to impress, the moment you stop trying to be chosen, the moment you stop explaining your worth, your words become rare. And what is rare is respected. So speak less, mean more, and remember, when you know your value, even a single sentence can change everything. Remain still, remain rooted, and let your presence do the rest.